Yes, guys, we finally got a Chelsea Here We Go this summer. Marco Palestra to Chelsea. And we've done all of this in pure silence. Chelsea have hijacked the deal from Inter Milan and Marco Palestra from Atalanta, who's on loan last season at Cagliari. He is about to become a new Chelsea player. The fact that we've managed to do this in silence proves that Chelsea are operating on a very different scale to what we've seen in the past, or maybe not necessarily on a different scale in terms of how much money we're spending, but in terms of the way that we're actually conducting our transfer business. We're not getting linked with everybody, and instead of finding out these little things, we're the ones who are actually hijacking the deals, keeping everything quiet until the job is done. Breaking, this is from Fabrizio, Marco Palestra to Chelsea, here we go. Verbal agreement in place between all parties. Atalanta to receive package over €55 million fee plus sell-on clause. Long-term deal to Italian talented right wing-back. Chelsea hijack Inter move and get new talent for Xabi Alonso. €55 million is a lot of money, but Marco Palestra has been bought in here predominantly as a right wing-back. Now this is interesting in many different levels for Chelsea because this could mean Malo Gusto is leaving. It could also be support for Reece James, but also, does this mean that potentially Reece James's role under Xabi Alonso could be a little bit different? Marco Palestra as a player, let's talk about him now. Last season, he was on loan at Cagliari. He's an Atalanta player, but he was the Serie A Defender of the Year last season. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know masses about this bloke. But obviously, since all of this has come out, I've been pretty busy traveling around. I'm currently in Mexico because I'm going to a Monterrey game. No, I'm going to South Korea versus South Africa tonight. And all of this Chelsea stuff has been happening whilst I've been doing these vlogs over on Project 90, the second channel, link down below. There'll be a vlog from the game today. I'm excited to go there. But Palestra coming in, I'm just as impressed with the fact that we've actually got this done in silence than I am the fact that we've actually bought the player. Yes, he's very young, but he's one of those, once again, top-tier young talents. And those are the kind of players Chelsea need to be bringing in. Spending €55 million on a player that might come good in the future doesn't make any sense. But for a player like Palestra, who can come in here, play as a right wing-back, if that's what Xabi Alonso wants to do, then I think it means that Reece has got a different role. Maybe the right centre-back position will go to Reece James. And if we keep going in this video, we're going to talk a bit more about other defenders and about some other stuff that's going on right now in the Chelsea space regarding defensive outgoings and also incomings as well. So this is, I think, a really good signing. From all of the stuff that I've seen about him, I think he's very good, versatile as well, can get himself forward, but also defensively, very astute. And I think when we compare what we saw last season under Malo Gusto has become one of the most confusing players for me at Chelsea. And the reason it's confusing is because we've seen how good he can be. And I'm not going to sit here and say Malo Gusto's finished, he's not going to be a great footballer. Now that we've got Palestra, let's just forget that we have Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto is on the market this summer for Chelsea. And listen to this. Chelsea value Malo Gusto at £75 million fee and are not actively working to sell the French right-back despite signing Marco Palestra. Man City interest, but no bids or club-to-club talks so far. Malo Gusto was really liked by Enzo Maresca. We saw how good he could be. Particularly, I always bring it back to the Club World Cup final. Gusto was exceptional on that day. Everybody was, almost a year ago now. But I wouldn't be surprised if Man City did go in for him. Now, would it be good business if Chelsea can get the £75 million fee? As soon as I saw that number, I'm like, are we serious? 75 million for Malo Gusto. He's in the France World Cup squad. He's still very young, and he's got years under his belt now of Premier League experience. So when a player does go to the World Cup, it adds a little bit of a premium, particularly if Gusto goes all the way with France, which, let's be honest, watching France in their 2 games so far, you wouldn't be too surprised if they did go all the way. Now, Gusto's not going to play every minute there, but it certainly helps raise his value. Now, this summer we know that Chelsea will have to make money. We're going to have to sell players. And whether that's going to be starting players or not, Cucurella's already gone. Malo Gusto could be the next out of the door. If that's the case, then Palestra's clearly come in to replace Malo Gusto. At the moment, Chelsea can put that £75 million valuation on Gusto. It doesn't mean we're going to get 75 million quid for him. I'd be surprised if Chelsea got 60 mil for Malo Gusto, and I think I'm being quite generous there when I say that. But Palestra coming in, this is a very exciting move. And the fact that we didn't hear very much about this in the build-up to this transfer being announced and almost always completed between all the parties, I think this is good news. This summer, Xabi Alonso's going to come in. Obviously, he's going to have his work cut out to an extent because there's a lot of unhappy players at Chelsea. And that's where I want to talk a little bit about attitudes, because Malo Gusto, in my opinion, hasn't done enough as a footballer to just drop all responsibility the way that I saw him drop it at the end of last season. That performance that he put in against Sunderland, I was fuming. I think more so with Malo Gusto than any other player. Yes, you got Wesley Fofana, who goes and gets himself sent off. I mean, Wesley Fofana has been doing these kind of just stupid things for so long right now at Chelsea. But if Gusto's head is out of the door at Chelsea, particularly if he knows that Maresca wants him, a manager that he was clearly upset when Maresca left, a lot of the players were, Cucurella was the same. And I think when you play at a football club like Chelsea, you can say whatever you want about, oh, well, I really like that manager, what are you doing? But we saw it happen time and time again. Jose Mourinho, Lampard, Drogba, Terry, these guys were in tears in the dressing room, at the training ground, when Jose Mourinho left the football club. They didn't down tools. They didn't just give up and be like, oh, well, the club's ran like a shit show. This is embarrassing. We're not going to give 110% effort. None of our former players, when Chelsea were in our heyday, when it was a proper glory time at Chelsea Football Club, we didn't have that mentality. We didn't have those players that would just simply give up when times got tough. And I think Malo Gusto has proven, unfortunately, that he might be one of those players. So if a club is willing to come in and spend 75 million quid, or even any figure near that kind of realm, then I think Chelsea will have to cash in. Now, Reece James is obviously the club captain. We're not losing Reece. We can never lose Reece. I hope Reece stays at Chelsea forever. But I think this Palestra sign-in probably shows us that Palestra's going to come in, 55 million, it's a lot of money, and he's a solid footballer. And Xabi Alonso, the news is that he's not just going to be rigid with the three at the back system. So even if it's at right back, are we going to see Enzo Fernandez depart to Real Madrid? At the moment, there's still nothing official happening with Enzo Fernandez to Real Madrid. Nothing really new to report on there. Will we see Reece in that midfield role again a bit more? Is Xabi Alonso going to have his hands tied a little bit when it comes to that replacement? Is Enzo Fernandez not going to be replaced by a player of a similar nature? Does it mean that we're going to need more from a wing-back? Whether that's going to be Hato on the left side, maybe Chelsea are going to look in that position too. Palestra on the right wing-back position, absolutely for me, tells me that Reece James is going to have a very different role this summer. So, let's talk now about centre-backs, because the latest here is that Como are interested in Chalobah. Fabregas personally wants the signing, but it might not be financially viable despite a successful season in Serie A, qualifying for the Champions League. The latest updates on this is that Como are ready to place a bid for Trevor Chalobah. I don't see this being a good move for Chelsea. Once again, Trev is someone who clearly wants to be here. When times were tough for him personally, and we're talking over the course of a few years now, Trev never gave up. Is Trevor Chalobah a starting level Premier League winning centre-back? I'm still not sure that that is the case. He's been here for a long time now, and I think Trev is certainly a significantly better player when he's got a better centre-back partner around him. So with all of this Palestra movement, Gusto leaving, Reece James, could that be a new position? I think that Xabi Alonso, as much as I'm not entirely sure if Alonso will say, yeah, just get rid of Trevor Chalobah, sell him, I don't want him. I think this is potentially a good move in the sense of it means that we're going to prioritise buying players specifically for those centre-back roles. I don't see Trev as a massively strong candidate in the left centre-back position. Colwill will be the central centre-back, we know that. I think Hatto will lock down that left centre-back side. I could see it if Chelsea don't get their top targets here, being a Reece James, Colwill, Hatto back three. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Trev is obviously a pure profit signing, and we've spoken about this now for multiple summers in a row. My big problem here is, look, Wesley Fofana shouldn't be prioritised to stay at Chelsea over Trevoh Chalobah. Trevor's proven time and time again when it comes to locking in mentality and actually giving the bare minimum of effort at Chelsea Football Club. Trevor's proven that he's ahead of Fofana in that nature. Trev doesn't get injured as often as Wesley Fofana does. So I'm a little bit disappointed here that once again, Trevoh Chalobah's being shoved out of the door. And at that point, and at this point, you can't help but just see that the priorities at Chelsea aren't going to be to offload the players that clearly give up when times get tough. Which is why I think Xabi Alonso's job here is going to be very difficult. Because once again this summer, there's going to be a big reshuffle. Even if we're not selling everyone, when you start to lose core members of the squad, when it comes to personality, when it comes to those little cliques that have built at Chelsea, Trev is loved by everybody. And he's been here longer than almost anybody but Reece. So I think at this point in time, losing Trev and keeping Wesley Fofana is a very frustrating move for me as a Chelsea fan. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. I'd be selling Fofana over Trev immediately. Obviously, Disasi's probably going to go. Benoit Badiashile, I mean, is there even going to be any significant interest at a decent price where Chelsea would even consider selling Badiashile? Didn't buy him that long ago. He was quite an early signing. Back when Todd Boehly was the one going to France in Lamborghinis and all of this stuff. It's just the song. But selling Trev, I'm always going to be disappointed with this. I like Trev, but I don't think he's going to be a starting Premier League winning centre-back. And if the club are as ambitious as you and I, that's what we need to prioritise. Premier League winning centre-backs. So let's see how that develops in the transfer market. But the news is, Trev is likely to be sold to Como to play with Cesc Fabregas in Serie A. Chelsea have bought in Palestra from Serie A, from Atalanta, on loan at Cagliari, but he's an Atalanta player. And I think this is a good move. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments down below. I'm going to get this video uploaded for you lot now. Apologies, there's not been vids every day. I've been doing vlogs every day for the World Cup and I'm pretty shattered. I'm knackered. I've not been getting much sleep. And I'm in Mexico. So if you want to see the vlogs, please check the link in the description down below. Subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Project 90, and I'll speak to you guys later. Come on, you Blues.